It is 6 o'clock, time to call our city council meeting to order. We will begin with our roll call.
Rahman,
Here.
Reagan,
Here.
Hamilton,
Here.
Hoffman,
Here.
Cruising.
Here.
And now if you would all please join me in our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1.3 is the approval of tonight's agenda.
I would like to make a change on that to 5G. I think we need to move that to the next meeting, but we have not completed the administrators. 5G would be setting the salaries. We haven't completed all that. We also have another agenda on for tonight for the building inspection, but we've given raises to the front house staff. So if that's given, we'll have to readjust their wages since they will no longer be doing those duties that were assigned.
So you want to totally eliminate 5G?
Put that on for next meeting in May. Yep.
So we'll move that to May 4th. Okay, with that. What we do?
Just had a question. Did that impact the adoption of the budget line item? No. Okay.
So we're just moving 5G to 2 weeks from today. May 4th. Okay, so you make that motion.
Yes.
Through the agenda with the exception that we remove 5G and move that to May 4th. Okay, I have a motion from Brad.
Second.
Second from Anna. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, we move 5G to next 2 weeks. Okay, it's time now for our public forum. And there's a time set aside for our public comments on the topics. This is an opportunity for the audience members to bring any items to the council attention, including items listed on the agenda. Please note, under Iowa public meeting laws, the council cannot discuss the business raised during the public forum. Still, the council may address the questions during the council general business. I will call anyone up who would like to speak. Please state your name and address before making comments. Public forum speakers are limited to 5 minutes with a total 30 minutes for the public forum. So do I have anybody in the audience who would like to speak this evening? Okay, step up, identify yourself, please.
Name is Bill Masterfield. Last week I received a phone call from Jason Van Osdale and V&K, I'm sorry. He said that he had received all the required documentation needed to issue a building permit. However, because the lot is only 50 feet wide, the proposed 880 square foot house with an attached one-car garage encroaches into the 15-foot setback for the side yard at 4th Street. It extends in 4 feet. This requires an approved variance by the city of Centerville. Then also say once the variance is approved, the building permit could be issued. I submitted a formal application to the variance committee. In order to avoid further delays in construction, I also submitted a formal request to be on tonight's agenda. The reason I did that, because I'm under council, to kind of give me pre-approval, either up or down, depending on what the variance committee has to say. So if they say, okay, I'd like to have prior approval from the council, go ahead and start. If they say no, then I will abide by that also. Unfortunately, this request was omitted. We've already purchased trusses, windows, and HVAC materials, so the house plan change is not an option. The results of the I'm sorry. And most of you know I had tongue cancer. So. The result of the drainage committee review will determine if we can build on West Washington lot or seek another building lot outside the city. We will be submitting another form of request to be put on the May 4th council meeting to finalize this building permit issue. I would like to know what inspection will be required and who is responsible for paying for these future inspections. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Anyone else who would like to come before us tonight? Okay, step right up, please.
Sorry, a little slow, Mike.
All right.
Hi, Jesse Pagan, 3025 McCarty Street, owner of Southern Iowa Heating and Cooling, town of Centerville, Iowa. I don't really formally propose, but I did have this slid across my desk today and I went over real quick. I am obviously one of the contractors working with Bill, trying to get his house built. First of all, I would like to applaud the city for trying to get inspections and permits. I'm all for it. I love it. It needs to happen. It should happen a long time ago. Cause I see things that A, shouldn't exist, B, should burn houses down, and C, are just plain wrong all the time. And that's been that way since we've been here. We are at a good point in Centerville's history where we have a lot of quality contractors now working with Austin. You know, they're competitors of mine, but they do good work. We have really good guys working, so that's to our advantage. What I don't understand is the miscommunication on this Veenstra and Kim stuff. I have called and left messages with them, no one's called me back. I've had the head of state inspection call me back and we kind of went over some stuff with him. And it's all pretty standard, you know, we do everything by the book as well. He said it's up to the city on what they look at, what they don't look at. Ultimately, if something does happen, it's the contractor that would get in trouble if there was a lawsuit or something happened. Negligent on the property. He said the city should never be in trouble for that. Unless they do have a permit process and something got overlooked by the city inspector. Like I said, I just got this today, so I went over it. So what I have been told and what I'm reading are two different things. So I just want some clarification before this gets voted on. You know, is this it? Like, is it, because this is honestly amateur high school inspection stuff. What I was told, there's manual J, manual D, manual S, blower door testing. 2012 energy guide, which is, you know, inspection, which is fine, but that adds a lot of costs to a building, a lot. And then I'm looking at $235 an hour inspection plus hourly rate and IRS standard mileage rate. That's a lot of dang money to inspect a house. I think and this is just my opinion going forward, I think what the city should do is create a committee of some sort or something and bring in the contractors, the local contractors, and say, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. What's your guys' opinion? Yes, we want to follow code. We want to do that. But I think it needs to be an internal thing with the city. Because with these costs, I struggle with it because I want inspections, but I struggle with the cost of what it's going to do to the homeowner and say, I'll just go bill out of the county. City loses income. They lose tax money. They lose revenue. And I can't think of a time where any house that's been done in Centerville has been an issue for the city or a lost liability. I've seen nothing but improvement. So I guess I really didn't have a lot to say other than is this it? Because this is, has the city attorney looked at this? I can leave this here for you guys to look at. Because what this says and what I'm being told are two different things.
Can you clarify? I don't know what document you have in front of you.
Here's what was in the council packet.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, Jesse, thank you. I appreciate your.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
my opinion, and you know, I wanna see Centerville grow and stuff. I wanna see these guys build houses and you guys can tax money from them, so
Appreciate what your company does.
thank you.
Anyone else in the audience who would like to speak during a public forum? Do I have anybody, Jason, that zoomed in, would like to speak? Yeah, one more out here, Mayor. But, make that.
Good evening, my name is Chris Kestner. I live at 119 South 15th, Centerville. I've only been to 2 council meetings since I got off the council because I had enough of 16 years, but I think this is important that we should all take a real hard look at it. I see, your name's Jason, right? Best thing we ever did is have an inspection service for our rental houses in town. We've cleaned up a lot of messes, and Justin Dahl was able to get rid of a lot of junk houses that we need to have removed. So that's good. I understand they also do the commercial end of it, and the parent company, or whoever owns Iowa Inspections, as the VK or whatever it's called, want to do the inspections for new houses that are built in Centerville. Something I think I asked Darren to check out how many new houses we had in Centerville built in the last 6 years. Is that, or last 3 years, that's 6, is that correct?
That's 8, I missed 2.
Okay, probably, in the last 3, the Indian Hills Community College probably built 3 of them. In comparison, I called Alp the other night, this afternoon, and he couldn't give me exact figure. I said, how many new houses have you had in the last 5 years? He said, the minimum of 25 to 35 houses have been built up there. Now, we used to brag if we were the progressive city with the future, but my question is, why aren't people building in Centerville? We have a lot of nice lots. I know Mr. McAfee is going through some problems trying to get a permit, get things rolling along. But there's obviously some problems why we aren't building houses in Centerville, and everybody's moving outside the city limits to build those houses. And when they do that, we lose our tax base. Here's a couple of some questions I think the council should have an answer, definite answer, before you vote on this tonight. You know, I've always been a proponent of having local people do it if we can have it done. Now, we had a building inspector, whatever Justin Dahl's title was. I think he did a decent job. He got a lot of houses. How many houses we got removed in the last 5 years? Anybody have any? A lot. And we could probably use a lot more to be removed. And so that end was good. And I don't know what I seen the budget there is like $90,000 or something you have set aside for inspection services or whatever. But like I say, Centerville only built 6 in the last 3 years, and now they built 25 and 35. There's a question maybe what's going on? Why are they doing it up there and we're not doing it here? And I talked to Chris today, understanding that it's mandated we have to have this inspection services. No, it's not mandated, because I guarantee you that the communities around us don't have it. They don't have it outside the city limits of Centerville. I think what they've done for the rental units is good. But I've been told different numbers of what it's going to cost to add to a housing construction in Centerville. So my question to the council, if you guys can't get a definite answer, how much will it add to the cost of a new home being built in Centerville, the minimum and the maximum? If you can't get a definite answer from somebody tonight, I certainly wouldn't vote on it until I found out what the answer was there. Jesse mentioned the rate is gonna be $230 or an hour. I assume that is from Des Moines to Centerville to back. Is that correct? Is that right? That's right. So when you live in Des Moines, it's gonna cost whoever built that house in Centerville $200 an hour, drive down here, do inspection, and drive back. Somewhere that has to be added to the cost of that house. So the consumer, whoever's building that house, that fee is gonna be added on. Now, I've heard different fees, you know, that could be as much as $15,000 from start to finish, but if you guys can't get a definite answer from Jason here, the gentleman back there with the inspection services, I would postpone voting on it until you had definite answer from them. So I hope you guys do what you, is best for the city. We all want it to grow. We want those houses to be built inside Centerville, and we don't want to be chasing prospective, new homeowners outside of the city limits. We got a lot of nice lots here. With all these empty lots we have now, and I suggest they're on today. I know we clean them up and put them back in decent shape. But the best thing we could probably do is say, okay, if you build a house here within a year, guess what? You get a lot free. I know we got expenses in it, but that lot's sitting there collecting nothing in taxes. You
One
know,
more minute, Chris.
have a good day. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
I'll listen to the rest of it on that.
Anyone else want to speak again? Do we have anybody coming in on us? Right. That being said, we'll move on to number 3 on tonight's agenda, and that is the consent agenda. Council, there are 10 items under that. Do you have any questions or comments?
What can, go ahead.
You know, say, what's the markets in the bill on C? Who is that?
Markets in the bill, that is, how to describe it? So it is formerly what the jump jaunt or jump journey was, but it is a consolidation of all the vendors. There's vendors around that don't have a storefront to set up. So for one time, they'll be at All Play set up, and one they'll be at the county fairgrounds set up. So it's pretty fun. I think Brenda Fry is the organizer of the local one.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time on this, and she's excited about it. They're hoping to have a good turnout, and then they're having several vendors right now are actually signing up for it, so they're really good, so. And the junk yacht deal, I think they actually joined up with them on this thing too, so.
Thank you. Can you explain the Chariton Valley? I know we've had her in here before, but, how that fits into our budget yearly and our
Yeah.
future?
So, this is, the $50,000 approximately, is programmed into our FY 27, and it'll be programmed into our FY 28 budget. So it's gonna take more than a year to get this done. But yeah, so this is included already in the budget for that amount under economic development. And it's just our update of our, comprehensive plan. So we look at, I guess, future growth, future infrastructure growth specifically, and how we can manage that, some capital improvement planning, quality of life surveys. I think there'll be probably a housing study in there as well, which will help us go out to get grants. Generally, comp plan is looking at 20 years of the time period, and you're supposed to renew them about every 5 years. Our last one was 2019, so we're close to that 7 years, a little longer. So the county will be undertaking theirs at the same time too, so we'll be able to hopefully be able to put those two as a cohesive document between the two of them.
And with this study, they look at every aspect of the community, don't they? The police department, the school system,
Yep.
streets, everything.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a comment about H, which is the proactive annual check-in. That's a service provided by the employee assistance plan, the benefits package, correct?
This is actually independent of our employee.
Oh, it is
So
independent.
this is a program that will, for all of our first responders, or people in the public safety department, be able to have an initial check-in on a yearly basis with mental health professional that is specifically geared towards them. It's a 1-hour session roughly per year, and it is mandatory participation, mandatory to go to it, but it is not mandatory to participate in it. None of these results really get fed back to the city at all.
Well, and I think it's a great feature, and I just wanted to reinforce the value of having that component as accessible to our employees that need it. I mean, they need to take advantage of it. We need to encourage it.
And I will say over the last 10 years that I've seen a steady uptick in the amount of first responders. We need to have, I'll say, decompression sessions with professional help, and we've been very aggressive about making sure people are getting that help. So this is just one extra thing to add to that.
Good.
Yes, underscoring Chris's comments, I was excited to see, city, support and investment for mental health support for first responders, so that was great. I also just wanted to highlight, Jason, I was wondering if you could say a little bit more, about the resolution 2026-4211, the purchase of veterans banners. I thought that was great and.
Yeah, so,
Highlight that.
PACT is spearheading a campaign for this year, which is to, put, picture banners of veterans, Centerville and Athens County, sponsored by, either businesses or family members. So I think they had 180, flag positions for those. And so, we thought it appropriate for our staff and committee members that are veterans, that those get recognized if their families aren't otherwise recognizing them. So, if approved, the next step will be to go through and make sure that we have captured all the veteran names, to make sure we're not missing anybody, and then getting that all pulled together.
You feel comfortable 10 of them's gonna catch it, because you're saying, or no, did I see that somewhere?
Yeah, I think I had $1,000, for the at $100 fees, and I do, I think that was pretty close.
Just hate to see somebody get left out for around money.
I think if it does, the PAC will work with us on some in-kind stuff we've done.
Okay.
Any other comments on the consent agenda or questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay.
Got a motion from Anna,
Second.
second, Darren, all in favor. I do need a roll call, please.
Robin,
Yes.
Reagan,
Aye.
Hamilton.
Aye.
Hoffman. Aye. Christian.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to number 4, we do have 3 public hearings tonight. So we'll begin with 4A, the public hearing on the adoption of the fiscal year 27 annual budget. Council, do I have a motion to go into enter the public hearing?
Motion.
Got a motion from Brad,
Second.
second from Ron. All those in favor, I do need a roll call, please.
Reagan.
Aye.
Hamilton.
Aye.
Hoffman. Aye. Christian.
Aye.
Braun.
Aye.
Okay, we are now in a public hearing. Start with you. Have you had any comments here at City Hall that need to be shared?
No, I've not received any.
Anyone in the audience would like to speak on the adoption of the fiscal year 27 public hearing? Annual budget. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion, council, to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Got a motion from Chris,
Second.
second from Brad. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. That public hearing is closed. 4B is a public hearing on the budget amendment number 1 for the fiscal year 26 budget. Need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Got a motion from Darren,
Second.
second from Lana. All those in favor, again, roll call, please.
Hamilton.
Aye.
Hoffman. Aye. Christian.
Aye.
Braun.
Aye.
Reagan.
Public hearing is now open. Get any comments on this particular public hearing, Jason? Would like to say that?
No, I've not received any public.
Anyone in the audience would like to make a comment on this public hearing? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Got a motion from Chris,
Second.
second from Ron. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The public hearing is now closed. 4C is the public hearing on the plans, specification forms of contract and estimate of the cost of the FAA 319-0013-019 AIP and 020 IJA-AIG. Do I have a motion to open that public hearing?
Motion.
You got a motion from Chris,
Second.
second for Brad. Again, all those in favor, roll call, please. Yes.
Hoffman. Aye. Christian.
Aye.
Braun.
Aye.
Reagan.
Aye.
Hamilton.
Aye.
Okay, that public hearing is now open. Maybe just a little background on the public hearing. A lot of names, a lot of numbers in there.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so, yeah, this is a public hearing for the construction of a, airport hangar out at the airport. The bids came in, which the bid tab is in the, general business below. It did come in under budget, so, which is good because it's actually gonna reduce the overall city share of that. So it's, I think, $56,000. What's the number? of what the city has for that, and that would be a $1.1 million hangar construction there, so that FAA is funding the balance of that.
Any comments from the, into City Hall on that particular?
We haven't received any.
And anyone in the chamber that would like to speak on that behalf? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
And then,
Got a motion from Anna,
Second.
second from Brad. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That public hearing is now closed. Number 5, our discussion action items, general business and old business. We'll begin with 5A, and that is the approval of tonight's bills. You should have all that information in front of you.
Question on the striker sales, repairs of floor plate. What is that?
The Stryker cot, Stryker is probably the largest medical device, supplier for ambulances, hospital beds, heart monitors, things like that. So the cot system that we have are Stryker cots, so they're a power cot, that's compatible with our ambulance. So when you bring the cot up to the back of the ambulance, it has a big arm that like hooks it in and pulls it in, so we're not having to do lifts and things like that. So that floor plate that is in the ambulance, was what was repaired. That helps pull that in.
Okay.
Any other questions, council, about the bills that you have in front of you? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's bill.
So
Got a motion from Chris,
Second.
second from Brad. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The bill has been approved. 5B, the approval of the March 2026 financial report. Again, council, you have that information. Any questions or comments about the financial report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the March 2026 financial report.
hey, Mayor, I had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to highlight the monthly budget update. Is that technically a part of the administrator report, or is that a part of the monthly financial? I know,
That's a part of my report.
okay, so, never mind, I'll bring it up then.
Anything else on the financial?
I had one question on, gas revenue, or the gas franchise, I guess. What is that generated off of? It's on your report.
Gas franchise is generated off of your Alliance bill, so if you look through there, you should have a line, that's a 3%. A 3% amount that we charge Alliance passes that on to customers, and that tends to be how they do it across the state. So it's not something we directly bill citizens for, but Alliance does.
So that, I see that's coming in as revenue, but it's never, do we transfer that into a different account?
Yep, so that generally gets transferred into general fund, to support public safety and emergency.
Any other questions, council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the March 2026 financial report. Got a motion from Darren,
Second.
second from Brad. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. The financial report has been approved. Our departmental reports will begin with City Administrator Jason Frazier.
So I wanted to highlight a few things. Obviously, there's a lot more talking that I'll be doing at the end when we get towards our budget discussion. So just some quick highlights here. Following on kind of a lot of the public forum comments, I want to see if there would be interest in a work session if I get them on May 4th to discuss things around the building code, with a better understanding of that. And where the council would like to go with, the building code going forward and what they'd like to see.
I will not be able to make that meeting. I will be in Mexico.
I would engage myself.
I would.
Okay, so
I mean, I'd like to be involved in it, but I can't.
so I guess that's what dates you going.
We're leaving 28th and back on 7th.
I will say the Zoom does work for Mexico.
You zoom in, Ron.
It would be first time.
Come on, Jason.
Well, Ron, when do you get back? I mean,
Depends on what time it is, how many of those strawberry daiquiris I got. You know, I wanna be on Zoom.
it might be a little late.
It might be a little late.
Well, would a week from that, even though it's not a meeting night, like on the 11th?
Well, but you want that for the,
Or do you want, I mean, we can, there's not a big rush on that, and,
I mean, it's up to you, but.
And then I guess, since it was brought up during the public forum, I'll just make one additional point, to Bill McAfee's question. So on the variance that you required to get, so that is through the zoning board of adjustment. So that is an independent quasi judicial board, so they don't, like, none of that goes to the council after that. So the variance approval process, their decision is more or less final. And any sort of appeal of that would go to the district judge, for that process, so. Yeah, so the council doesn't actually have a role in that, so there doesn't need to necessarily be any action on that building permit at a council meeting. And,
When was that presented to the board?
so when was that? Friday that we got that packet information, so, we got that about 8 AM, and by 10 AM I had a public hearing set for the fourth, which is we have a 10-day public hearing notice period on that, so that is legally the first day that we can have any sort of, discussion on that. And I think ultimately the two options on that specific issue were, either the building could be, take 4 feet off the side and put it on the back, and do design stuff like that, or get a variance, or there's two, options on that to reduce that.
Let's just have the work session on the fourth.
So we're gonna plan it at 5 o'clock, and then we have a regular council meeting at 6.
Yep.
Sure, we'll just roll one into the other. Okay.
Or, yeah.
Do I need a motion to that, or just, we just agree to do that? Okay, mark it down on your calendars.
It already,
For it. Perfect, okay, thank you.
And I'll see how I feel.
Well, and I think the people traveling with you can get on too if they need to. We can do a big to burning sort of scenario.
Do you have any more on your?
Yeah, I got a few other things. Then I have note here, our FY 25 audit, we were originally supposed to have it in the fall. We weren't ready for it at that point, so our auditor moved us back to May, so we did get an extension from the state auditor's office. That it'll still be done in this fiscal year, or FY 25, this is a little delayed. So we're expecting them on site in the next few weeks. Following up on rental inspections, we had four landlords of the 2024 cycle, so they should have been completed roughly a year ago. That were not completed. We've been working, trying to get them to take the next step over the last year, and we're at the point that, I'll say further action needed. I know our city attorney is mailing them letters stating that action will happen as a result of that, so this will be the first round of four landlords, and, I don't know where the ultimate, say prosecution goes on that, whether that is the city saying they don't have a right to be a landlord anymore. So this will be the first cases of going through that. These are people that I will say probably willfully chosen not to do the process based off of just what I know of the complaints we tend to get from these landlords. So
How many properties?
I guess I'm not sure of how many properties, but I think we had 125 total landlords that were inspected in that year, and only 4 didn't comply.
Is there some sort of notification of tenants so that they're aware that their property was supposed to be inspected, and
No, we don't have any sort of process of that.
would we talk about the possibility of that?
We can-
Thank you.
Question on the S&P rating. How is that important in the city?
In the grand scheme of things, probably not totally important. So the last time we had it done was 2015, and that was the point we were going out for a renewal bond and a street project bond. So we had about $7 or $8 million for the debt that we were issuing out that was general obligation debt. And so the percentage points that you get on your bonds matter a lot when you're talking that big number. And so having a higher rating gives you a lower interest rate. So that's why it's important. as we're not projected to go out for more than $2 million of bonds, there's probably not a financial benefit or hardship because of the rating going from A stable to A minus stable. The stable is probably the more important part when you're in the A category. And it just says that we're effectively doing most of the right things, but there are a few things that we may not have control of that we need to figure out a way to address. And the largest thing from the S&P report, which the full report is in the packet, the largest thing was not having $1 million account holdings, which is pretty significant for our budget when we have the general fund that effectively is, right around $3 million of general fund dollars in any given year. To have $1 billion of it in reserve is
So
quite a lot.
how is that gonna affect us for the next rating when the tax levy is gonna be reduced? So your general fund's gonna be reduced. Are they money coming in is gonna be reduced?
And I'm meeting over hopefully next few weeks with, once we get done with the budget with our municipal advisor to come up with plans for how we're gonna get to a point to be closer to that $1 million number. And this is just a desk review, so this isn't the formal process. Usually with the formal process, it's several months long. And with that, this is kind of the 5-year check-in with them on that. So once we get to a stable place or we get to that maybe $1 million mark, we can ask them to do a desk review again, get that resolved without having to go through the full process.
So for the future, we're bonding just the Franklin Street project?
Yeah, and we shouldn't need to bond more than 1.5 on that. So it won't, so the S&P rating won't have an impact on that.
Okay, are we expected to have to do anything with Oak Street, or is that gonna be covered in the budget?
That project will be in this current,
Be in the budget, okay.
this upcoming budget.
Yeah, and other than our sewer project and our water project, we really haven't had to do any bonding of any sort of big amounts since those last projects, and so
Okay.
I don't have any big projects that are going to be large general obligation loans in the near future that we have forecast.
Thank you.
Okay, is that your report? Okay, any further questions for Jason?
Did you have a question?
I mean, not a question so much as I just wanted to highlight the monthly budget update and how much I appreciate it. I know I've said that in prior meetings before, but just wanted to highlight, I know my fellow council members have seen it, but for the public, it's really helpful to see an update that showcases the different budget categories and then talks about sort of where we're at in relationship to the full fiscal year. And just noting, I didn't see anything in terms of like questions. So looking at the percentage of the way through that budget where we are versus the percentage of the fiscal year that we're through, like no big questions came up for me, but it's just a really helpful format.
Yep, and this will change a decent amount as we go into when they do the report for April, because we have the budget amendment that's start. So there'll be some impacts with that. And then I guess also in the packet material that I included with this, I do have I'll call it a model amendment to the International Building Code. So this is what the city of Oskaloosa has done in state aid. It is very much in line with what the state of Iowa also has done for their state building code with that. So they have also adopted the International Building Code as the state standard for building a residential code. So I wanted you to have that as a reference prior to going into that work session, to have a frame of references to what sort of modifications.
Jason, is it possible to get another comparable? Oskaloosa is twice our size. I'm not saying that, their building code is not applicable, and I've read through everything in the packet, but Cherokee, Iowa is almost exactly the same size as Centerville. And they would have high standards up there. I'd be curious to know if we could access their information.
Yep, I can reach out to the administrator there.
Probably the same with Albius and Chariton.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean-
Similar size, also be nice to see what everybody else is doing.
I'll be about half the size.
Yeah.
Also, I don't look Cherokee, Red Oak, Osceola. Osceola actually has the exact same population as us, so they'd be.
I mean, I'd just like to see one more comparable. If we could access that information, thank you. And they have their own O'Connor up there anyway.
Yeah, you and I got contacts up there, don't we? Uh-huh.
Yeah, you probably have better contacts than I do.
I think we'll get something from them. Any other questions for Jason? Okay, thanks, Jason, for that report. Let's move on. Steve Hawkins with our Public Works report.
I'll hit some of the highlights. I think you guys all have a copy of the full report. Our tree trimming has been completed. That was winter work off and on for the last 4 years. Guys did a real good job getting that accomplished in that period of time. Jason and myself and Chief Moore had 2 meetings with Alliant. One of them was going over Michael's struggles and the other was over new projects. I guess we all come back with Michael separately a week later. I think we're in a good place where we can sign those permits and move forward if you guys are good with that. Other than that, alleys and potholes are gonna be our what we're gonna be approaching here with Mother Nature allowing us to get to work on those. I know we started on the gravel roads there last week. It's been difficult to get, every time we do something, it gets washed out, so I appreciate people's patience, but we did get started on the alleys today, so hopefully that'll go better than it was today. Other than that, we've got to get some continuous foundations poured in the cemetery. We're way behind. We've had, the last couple has been buried in a foundation poured. Once again, that's kind of a weather committee type issue, so we hope to get that accomplished in the next month also.
You doing those internally then?
Yes, we are. I've contacted Bob Evers. He might come down and help us. He did the last time, and just to kind of have that expert there and then allow us to divide the conflict and all that things.
Do they have a projected time frame on these gas lines?
Good question.
There's still a lot of potholes down.
There are, and the paving company has not came in, and I was very explicit that
Okay.
I want to know when that guy gets here. Just one of the things though, I noticed on the way in tonight, they were picking up flags in areas that they're have completed south of town. That was one thing we hit on. I mean, we hit them pretty hard, I think, and I think they listened and realized there was a major communication breakdown in their side of it. So I hope we work through that now, and the new projects that are coming up are much smaller, and I think will go a lot smoother.
Well, you say they just haven't got the holes patched yet then? The holes can be patched, they just haven't got.
They're
Okay.
waiting on the contractor, and I think the issue is there's some areas that haven't been terminated. They want to get all those terminated, so when they come to town, they can knock them all out.
Yeah, and I think said this week or early next week was when their scheduled date for the switchover was to take the old lines.
Okay.
But it's definitely been better the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it has. There's still got a long ways to go.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions for Steve? Okay, thanks, Steve, for that. Now our library report, Janelle.
Hi. You all have my report in the packet, but I just wanted to highlight a few things. This Thursday, there will be a job fair. It's sponsored and hosted by Iowa Works, and PACT is also helping them with that. It's from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. upstairs on the top floor. So there'll be a lot of good opportunities, I'm hoping, for that, for people looking for work. We are working on the calendar on the website. We kind of have our own little way we've done things, and then we realized, oh, we should spread this out a little bit further. And so we've got the calendar of events. We're utilizing that a lot more. So hopefully I won't forget, or we'll catch all of them, but all library events will now also be seen on the calendar of events on the website and not just on our Facebook pages or in my reports. So there'll be a little more access on that. They are working very hard on summer reading program, and then May, they always take the month of May, no programming in the children's area. The adult programming was to continue. That's the time that they take to do a lot of planning, contacting, following up with presenters who have promised a while back that they would do something and ordering supplies, getting things ready for the big day on June 1st. We'll have registration. I wanted to explain our book drop is getting a little renovation. I was able to work with Rodney at Rod Metal Works, and instead of having to replace the whole thing, which would be several $1,000s easily, he is able to renovate some of the more structurally questionable areas on our book drop outside. And he, of course, had already worked on our railing system and the sign in front of the railing and did a great job. He's going to utilize that design for our sign out front. So we have some signage on each side of that book drop. So we're looking forward to getting that done. And then by the end of the month, we'll have our high school volunteers ready to do some landscaping, and have a few that are interested in helping with some things that I have special projects inside. So we're gonna be utilizing those volunteers. So if you have a high school student in your life, want to encourage them to sign up, please have them sign up if it's gonna be really helpful to the library.
With next year's, school days changing, are you looking at doing any different programming?
Yeah, we're a little, we've been discussing that a lot on how we're gonna deal with that. Tanya works, in the children's department, works every other Saturday, and she is wanting to do some Saturday programming on her days. And we're gonna have to kind of see what happens for the after-school kids. With them getting out a little later, that means transportation's gonna be moving a little later. That means they might have a little less time after school between either library time and tumbling, dance, whatever practices that they're involved in. So we may have to get started with our schedule as it is and see what happens. We've had to do that before, and our children's staff is very good about noticing what needs to be changed and going forth and just making the arrangements to make sure more kids can get to us. So we'll just have to kind of see how it goes. We realize it's gonna be a little later when the kids get there. So we obviously were available to them after school. It just may change what kind of program we're doing throughout the week. So we'll work on that.
Anything else for Janelle? Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, 5B, it's the approval of the closure of North 13th Street for the Cyhawk football game on September 12th, 2026. Request coming from the Majestic, and you should have a letter in your packet. Any discussion, comments, council, before I have
issues last year, did we, Mike?
We had one issue at Gordy's, but it was not, it wasn't involving this.
Okay.
So,
That was a great event last year. I went
Looked like it was. I didn't go, but I drove by.
from there, from a baby. It's great.
Okay.
Well, and it's just up to the alley, right? That's the difference this year. So not that that makes any difference, but it's slightly modified according to what Mike shared.
Okay, well, I would entertain a motion to approve the closure of North 13th on that date, September 12th, 2026. Got a motion from Chris,
Second.
second from Darren, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you, that has been approved. 5E, I want you to look at there is the approval of the airport hangar project resolution.
Can you read all that, Mike?
I can. But I was hoping that we took it over. We talked about that, but I'm gonna add first for a motion to approve all four, and you have it right in front of you. There's resolution 2026-4212, 2026-4213, 2026-4214, and 2026-4215. So
Motion approved.
for a motion to approve all four of those in one motion.
Motion
Do I have a
approved.
motion? Thank you, Brad. I got a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Darren. Second. All those in favor?
I'll sleep material.
I do need a roll call, please.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Cruiser,
Aye.
Brahman,
Aye.
Craig, Hamilton.
Aye.
Okay, so thank you. That takes care of
Your
the.
voice is just so
Airport.
melodious.
Yeah. Thank you, Rick. You'll have to move right along. Let's move on to 5F, That is the approval of the adoption of the fiscal year 27 annual budget. So,
You have,
yeah,
I guess a slide shows over this.
okay.
All of those should be in the packet, but a few things I wanted to go over, just the, I guess, the general concept of our budget and what we're trying to do. So in your packet, there is the full list of, what the state form looks like, which is long, convoluted, lots of numbers all over the place. But I really want to just summarize, what the budget is, and so, really it's a financial plan for us, is what direction we're gonna go for the year, just align with what your guys' goals are. It does give us legal spending authority over the course of the year, so, but it also caps that. And it also helps us set our service levels and our risk tolerance. And it's a control mechanism, ensuring we stay within adopted limits. I think the key highlight of that is, you know, it's not approving projects when we approve this budget, but it's, giving us spending authority, by function. So large projects still will be coming to you for approval, via resolution as we get through the year. So here's a highlight of all the different revenues that we're able to use. With property tax being the single largest fund that we get for the general fund. And then we use user fees and enterprise funds. Enterprise funds are our utilities, so water, sewer, storm sewer, to help offset costs. So things that necessarily the whole general public shouldn't pay for, but the specific user should pay for there. And this breaks down a little bit of, you know, what are our levy powers that we have. So at the state form, we have our general fund levy. So that is, what's commonly known as the 810 levy. Although it's no longer 810, it's now the GCFL, which is the, CGFL, sorry. We have our debt service levy. So that is for large projects. For this year, we're using that. Kind of done a replacement on that. So we're using the local option sales tax for pool and recreation to cover other recreation services. And we're using our debt service levy to fund that payment. And a lot of that is just because of the way the state is rationing things down. This gives us the most flexibility in having basically general fund dollars to use. Since our debt service levy is down quite a bit from where it was previously. And then employee benefits levy. So that is the biggest swing of costs in any given year is going to be that employee benefits levy. Because the cost of insurance, cost of liability insurance, we just don't actually control those all that much, and it's based on what the market is providing. And again, we're not levying extra to have like a slush fund for projects. It is about as tight as we can make it and still have operations here. When we look at our property tax versus the total tax bill, so the city is only a portion of what most people see in the tax bill. In this year, we're about 33%. The school is about the same, and then all the other tax entities make up that other third. For budget key term, I'm not going to go into it, but we cover up in like a real example here shortly. So this chart reflects, I guess, the overall levy rate trend we've had over the last few years. So the levy rate this year is lower than any time in the last 5 years, but I think even more so than any time since about 2015. When we were first took on the pool debt and the state super project debt. So that just kind of shows that those are coming down with current controls without any large changes there. And we still see that general fund is one down here in debt service. You can see how that's shrunk, and that's really making a lot of the difference and where we are in any given year.
Jason, can you go back to that slide for a moment, please? Could you, just because it's easier to see in our, like, packets, but could you, just run through which color on the bar graph as
So
well?
we look at this, bottom big bar, that is the general fund. So that is all, property tax. Next, we see our insurance, above that. Which that is, as you can see, looking way back here, it's a very small sliver and just gets a little bit bigger every year. And that is just the growth of the insurance market. There's a little sliver there that nobody can see and it doesn't show up very well on my computer, but that is, emergency management. That has stayed consistent. It's a population-based amount. Another thing that's non-existent, when you start back here, is our support for, local library. We see it, and then it's gone. So that amount is no longer a, fund that's allowed. And then we have the emergency levy, which is unrelated to emergency funds. It is actually just like an additional general fund amount. That too has been eliminated, so we,
And when you say it's been eliminated, can you share more about that?
yeah, so the state in their goal to reduce property taxes, combined several levies into one. So we used to have the old, what they call the 810 levy, so your general basic levy. We had the emergency levy, which allowed for another 27 cents on top of that 810. And then we had the support local library, which also allowed for 27 cents on top of that. So the two 27-cent levies both got rolled into that 810 levy and they're going to be cap. And for us, that cap is $8.16, I think, this year. And it's getting ratcheted down, so we'll be at or below the 810 next fiscal year, by design. And then we see above that, we have retirement programs in the next two bars, so police retirement and other employee retirement. So those have stayed pretty steady across that time, and they tend to stay the same percentage. And then up above that is other employee benefits, and this really captures the health benefit costs. One, we have stayed pretty consistent over the last several years. And a lot of that is the insurance trust pool that we're a part of. So I'd say that's the biggest thing controlling our insurance costs. And then the top line is our debt service, and as you can see, we're paying off, and then we finally paid off one of our large debts there, so that's fine. Down quite a bit. Okay, so this is deep into the numbers of breaking down what our actual state form is submitting. So our total tax levy rate is $16.84, 85 cents, down from $19.10. And you can see on the general fund, consolidated general fund, that we went down to 814 from the 838. So that's one place that's gone down. Next, you can see that insurance increase in the levy rate. Emergency management staying the same. Police and fire retirement has gone down slightly. But that's been a shift from basically employees where we had more police and fire in 1 year is now shifting more over to hyper-based employees when we go into this budget year. You can see the additional health insurance costs there down below. And then you can see the drop in the debt service levy on this line here. Overall, we are generating roughly $160,000 less of tax revenue this year than we did last year. And when we take that to the overall, adding in the county and all the other rates, it's about a $3.50 decrease per thousand year over year. And this is an example of what $100,000 home in FY20, so last year or this current tax year, would have expected to pay about $2,100 in taxes. This year, with the increase in valuation, we're paying $1,971. So even with the increase in valuation, the overall tax burden is going down. Going through our revenue list again, so local option sales tax, this is probably our largest non-property tax amount. And this is, the current local option sales tax is 1%. There is currently legislation, since it may allow that to go up to 1.5%. I haven't been able to analyze what that means for us. It would be positive in general, but basically it's being used to offset property tax amounts. So property taxes would probably go down proportionally or even greater than what the local option sales tax would.
Jason, is that the one that the state's wanting to try and take control of?
Theoretically, they haven't put anything forward this year, about taking control, but I know that is something they've always had their eye on. But I think it's going to be property tax relief they want to use it for, so they may just leave it local and fix the other side of the equation.
That'd be great to have.
Another revenue source is our charges for service. This would also be what we call our enterprise funds, would be our water, wastewater, and airport services. And this is where the individual user that's getting the benefit is paying for those services. So, not the same way you tax. And then TIF. So we have two TIF districts in town. And what TIF does is it's its own individual taxing district, and it is capturing the growth that we create. So every new house that gets built, every business that gets built, the growth in that tax rate, we're able to capture those for the effectively what we've invested into them. So, so it doesn't capture, it's not taking taxes away from other entities. You're only getting taxes from the growth that we've created through helping people invest in their projects. And the licenses and permits, obviously the building permits is the one that we've been talking about a lot today. The goal for this is to be net zero on all of these costs. So really trying to offset what it costs us to provide the service completely with what it is for to have the amount paid to offset completely what the expenses that go into it. And then here government revenues, so we have our road use tax fund. That's stayed pretty constant over the past several years. So when I say constant, completely flat, so less than 1% increase in that. So when we get into the expenses part of this, you know, we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 to 15% increases on municipal costs for things like water pipe, things like that. So we're not seeing that growth in road use tax to help offset the rate of water pipe. That example, rock, salt, fuel, concrete trucks. They're going up a lot more. Miscellaneous revenues, this is a pretty minor amount. So not really anything that we budget largely on, just because it fluctuates so much in any given year. I would say the one that is there is probably our interest earnings. We have seen a gigantic increase on that. I think in the magnitude of 5 to 10 times what we were previously seeing. So it's actually over 6 figures now, getting where we're more like 30,000 previously. And so this is just kind of the pie of what our property taxes are paying for. So largest factor here, 51%, is public safety. The 2% sliver here is our debt service, so it's a pretty small amount in the grand scheme. And this non-public safety is the remainder of our thing. So every function we have that is not public safety is covered in that 47% of property taxes. So that's a breakdown of what those numbers are there. And so, as I mentioned earlier in the budget, what our budget is it's broken down by function. We have 9 function areas. We use 6 of those. So one of those function areas is public safety. Largest general fund operating expense that we have by far. As you can see, it covers police, fire, building official, animal control, and emergency management. We have public works. Most of public works stuff is either funded through intergovernmental, so road use tax, or through service fees, utility costs. So, again, that high point of maintenance costs are going faster than inflation. And long-term capital planning and things like our comp plan are going to be the way that we help combat that. Culture, recreation, and quality of life. So these are things that tend to get left behind in the discussion on what we spend our property taxes on. And wanting to have people come to town, I think a lot of that tends to be focused around library, our cemetery, for people, Parks and Rec, and then community band, things like that. So the things that make it fun to live here, as opposed to just, I guess, making it affordable work here. This is probably the area that is most at threat by any sort of large property tax cut, just because these aren't necessarily the key infrastructure or core infrastructure stuff. So this is, I won't say fluff, but it is things that aren't seen quite as critical as infrastructure, police, and fire. And so they tend to be the first things over chopping block, unfortunately. And then general government operations here at City Hall. And so this is a breakdown of what that general fund spending. So everything that is not a utility, this is how it breaks down for our spending. So again, 51% of that is in public safety. Public works takes up another 29% of it. And then culture and recreation is 9%. And then we look at our economic development expenses at 5%. And so general government operations, so city hall operations, represent 4% of the total budget, and then debt service is that. And then this is just a comparison of basically we have our tax stuff over here on the right and our utility stuff over here on the left. So just how our makeup is that we're roughly 2/3 non-utility. And then again, this is capital project and right funds. Probably not one more time. Just I guess the key point that we're trying to align our budget with what your council priorities are. Which you probably review for another council goal setting session, which is part of that comprehensive plan that we have coming up. Property tax is only one part of the funding mix, and our enterprise funds or water, sewer, those operate independently and aren't really factored into our general operations. And then just capital growth and not thinking about it. So I view of that, I guess, kind of wrapping together all of the things that we discussed over the past 4 months that we've been working on the budget. So I think this budget that I had presented reflects those priorities that we discussed in the committees, and what we said out loud. I know there was, we postponed the setting the salaries until next one. That's fine, but one of the questions that you brought up was on the reallocation of duties. I don't think those duties actually are reallocated on the building official stuff, and you have approximately $30,000 budgeted for covering that building official cost, which is basically the equivalent of a 20-hour position, 20-hour a week position, or a 50% position, back how we used to have it, to be covered in the building official responsibility, whether that be shipped out or not.
Okay, I guess I didn't see any of that breakdown on what their duties were compared to what our duties were. So
I still think the administration would still be in here to help reduce the amount of costs that we have and actually those higher cost building official services. So that's one of the things that I think to stay in-house is the back end administration on that.
okay, I didn't see that written in his contract at all, so.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
need
and
clarification on all that.
Outside of it, so yeah, that's fine on that piece, but I just wanted to make a comment on it. Yeah, I think that's, I guess, are there any questions on the budget overall or?
So we're ready to go ahead for the approval.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, if council is ready, I'm happy to do the approval of the adoption of fiscal year 27 annual budget. Got a motion from Chris,
Second.
second from Darren. All those in favor, let's do a roll call, please.
Friedrich,
Aye.
Brahman,
Aye.
Reagan,
Aye.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye. Okay, thank you. The fiscal year FY 27 has now been approved. We moved G to next meeting in 2 weeks. So we're at H, the approval of the adoption, the budget amendment number 1 for fiscal year 26.
Yep, it is budget authority for, the expenditure related to, the purchase of our police cars and recategorizing some of the expenditure lines to make sure that our internal functions match the state form.
So you didn't have them squad cars in the budget?
We had one full purchase for 85,000. Just one early in the year. The replacement of these two, we did not have, but we don't have the funds, we just did not have it budgeted as a line item.
Any questions, comments? None, I would entertain a motion then to approve the adoption of the budget amendment number 1 for fiscal year 26. Have a motion.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Brad. Motion for Brad.
Second.
Second for Ron. All those in favor again, let's do a roll call, please.
Brucey,
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye.
Hamilton.
Aye.
Reagan.
Aye.
Braun.
Aye.
Thank you. That has now been approved. Move to 5I. That's the approval of resolution 2026-4217. That's approving the remount of the ambulance.
Yeah, so, in your packet, there were, I believe there were 3 different, proposals. Within that, different options for, what we can do with, our 2017. So, we currently have a 2016, a 2017, and a 2024 ambulance, that we have on our fleet. The 2016, 2017 are reaching the end of their life with us, as far as their chassis age. However, the back of them are very good and liked by the staff layout, but it does need some refurbishment. One of the options with refurbishing is, you can remount an ambulance onto a brand new truck. So, effectively is putting the 2017 box from the back of the ambulance onto a 2026, 2027 truck. So they can just pop it off, put it back on and, fix things and update the things that kind of get worn out over time. And there's a pretty significant cost savings, with that. So, in the proposal, we have what the cost of the new ambulance is, which is about 175,000, whereas remount is 260,000. So, we have about the same timeline for getting this delivered, which is, it's 14 months from now is when we would actually be able to do that. So, it'll take a while to get the remount done. So I guess based on the 3 options, the recommendation I had was to approve the remount with, McLean. They're based out of McLean, Illinois, so they're pretty close to us. The other company that we have there is ARB, which is based out of Columbia, Missouri. The Macomb one actually does it in their facility in Illinois, whereas ARB would ship theirs out to the East Coast, refurbished in North Carolina. The advantage of using the one in Illinois is we are going to keep the truck this is currently mounted on, so there's not a lot of resale value, but we are able to use it in our street department, public works, where they can go a lot longer on the truck. So we're going to be able to reuse that piece of equipment as well, instead of having to go out and buy a truck.
So are we talking about remounting 2 ambulances or just the 16?
Just the 16. Just the 16 will be remounted. The other piece that I've been working on is a 2080 agreement with the city of Moulton. For, the other ambulance that's currently our third out ambulance to maybe join their fleet. This would prevent it from just sitting there and effectively dry rotting, or not being utilized. Still keeps it in the county fleet, so it is a resource that's there that can be utilized for response services, but it'll actually give it a more functional life, and would be newer and better equipped than any of the stuff that I think anywhere else in the county has. I think the other ones from Molten Fleet are 99s, and at the end of their life, and so hopefully it helps reduce the burden on the overall EMS tax levy, countywide, by repurposing that.
Now, is this amount in the budget for this year or would it come out for next year?
This is the net 27 project, yes.
Okay.
And we do have an agreement, should one of ours go down and revert, we do get it back.
That's one of
so
the
that
things
we're not short.
maybe is that we can borrow back, and I think we're still working on the mechanism of that. Make sure that it's fair to both sides on that piece, and then, as far as the budgeting for the paying for this, so, this would likely be financed and paid for out of the EMS levy. So in that request we had for the county, it did include $100,000 towards this, and that would be an annual appropriation for paying that back. So we would take out some debt that's secured by that EMS tax levy.
Is there gonna be some kind of warranty come along with this for the box? I know the
For the
chassis.
box, there'll probably be something small for the box, but the chassis would have its full manufacturer warranty on it.
I don't know. I've seen this fail at another place, so never so glad to get rid of one. We tried, but
And I will say, we've had a new one that we got that I kind of wish we would have done a remount on it, because, yeah, one of those things that, I don't know, sometimes we just the limit on a new car too.
I mean, does it I guess two questions. One, I think you were speaking to this, but I wasn't tracking. Is there any concern with this vehicle being out of commission while it's being remounted, or the back of that being remounted?
Yeah, so, as part of that 2080 agreement, during that time that it is away to be remounted, we would bring the other one back into our fleet temporarily.
Okay, and then my other question was related to your concern, Darren. Is there a reduction in the average lifespan of the vehicle that's been remounted versus purchasing new?
I guess person knew it has 14 to 16 year lifespan on the box. On the truck, we're still looking at 7 to 8 years based on how we use ours. So, since it would be a new truck, we'd have that 7 to 8 years, but we're basically using the second half of the life of the box.
Okay.
With that, so. Yeah, the truck's expired before the box was due.
Okay, that makes sense.
And what is the expectancy for the life of the trucks we currently have if we postpone this for a year or two? Are we having any issues with the 17 currently?
Yes, we are having some minor issues. I mean, things that you'd expect to have when something that's 7 or 8 years old. And I think the issue with delaying is, a 1 year delay is really a 2.5 year delay from the time that we'll be able to get something. So really, we're ordering this for almost into FY 28 by the time that we're going to receive this vehicle. So that's kind of the big thing is it just is such a long lead item that we have to get ahead of it. And try to stay on that 6 year cycle so that we don't end up in a space where we're going to have failing vehicles.
Any other comments, questions?
so what was the cost savings for going to try, Jason?
Say that again?
What was the cost savings? I see 252.
Yeah, so I think
90,
252 and I think 375 was the. I think the original contracts out of the packets for you, there's. We already watched 200 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back on the city side, the digital one had all the extra. That's fine.
Just a ballpark.
Yeah, I think it was 375, where we were at.
Makes sense to me.
I would be able to grab it. That I like to do.
Okay, so if we've answered the questions, I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 2026-4217, approving the remount of the ambulance.
So moved.
Got a motion from Anna,
Okay.
second from Ron. All those in favor, roll call please.
Brahman,
No.
Reagan,
Aye.
Hamilton,
Nah.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Christie.
Aye.
3-2 motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we move to J, the approval of the building official service with B and K. You, council should have that agreement with you. Jason is here, Jason Arsdale. If Jason, you want to step up, I think this is a good time to ask questions and try to get things cleared up as best we can.
Been to a lot of council meetings, I've never been able to sit down.
Okay, but we
Let me keep going.
we'll keep moving. So do we start with questions the council has, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good place, but I guess as far as the discussion tonight, really, with BK is looking at how do we fill our vacant building official position? And UK, has worked with on commercial projects. And so we have a pretty good, I guess, working relationship with them. They also do residential service, for the building official work, and so in the time that we didn't have a building official, that they were the easy button to make sure that we have continued service, for what we can't do in-house. So we are still doing things like fence and sign permits, sheds, things like that don't require higher level of scrutiny. So we do have those in-house, but that's where I guess the discussion came from and why they're presenting a contract was to basically formalize what they were doing for us informally using our current structure.
So council, now's the time to ask any questions, before,
How many inspections are we looking at for facilities,
For residential or commercial?
residential?
For residential, about 7. So, I wanted to actually clarify a few things and answer a few things that were brought up at tonight's meeting. And I'm also probably gonna surprise you a little bit too. First of all, who am I? Jason Van Osdal, Bean String Kim Engineering. I'm the department head for the department. We've lost a few of our inspectors, one of them being Harrison Van Osdal, my oldest son, who has purchased Iowa inspections from me. He's buying it over time, painfully slowly, and buying it from dad. I'm still a part of the company to, consult and help and guide and all the things that a dad does. But he is buying that company from me. And so I wanted to make sure that that separation is very, very clear to the folks that are in this room. Again, it is a good program. Mr. Keshner said it well. And it has worked very well for this community and many others. And we're proud of it too. And you all should be proud of it. And while we're being proud, that presentation that you had there, I go to a lot of council meetings. Nice job, sir. Nice job. So you've got a good city staff here, and we're happy to work for them. Are happy to work for you. We were your easy button when the problem did arise. And yes, you folks do need to make a decision, because what we've presented to you is expensive. I've said it before, I've said it again, having somebody that is local is the best alternative for you guys and for most. It is a business model that we have in a lot of our communities, and we're there for you if you need us. And that's the way we like to leave it, is just like that. For us to come down here is expensive to do that. And so therefore, it's fiscally responsible for the council to get somebody. In fact, I even reached out to Jason, the local gentleman that was, that really impressed me out in the field here in town, and I sent him Jason's way. So I put my money where my mouth is. You need to find somebody that's down here, and hard to do. It really is hard to do. But being that what it is, we have certified, qualified inspectors. I'm a certified building official, and it's hard to get those folks to apply for the job. So, but somebody said, do we need, I think it was maybe you, there are cities out there that don't have building departments and building inspections. Only 9 counties in Iowa do building inspections of 99. That might surprise you. It would be a little bit rare for the county seat not to have building inspections, but it's not unheard of. A lot of those towns that you talked about, we are the building department for: Osceola, Knoxville, Oskaloosa, Marshalltown. There's lots of them out there that we are the building department for, and we're happy to serve them. But if you don't want to have building inspections, you would just repeal your codes and not have that, or have a limited supply. I mean, you guys can do what you want to. It's your city. Do what you want to, and you always have. But for what we provide, and I believe a gentleman asked the question, how much is it? How much is it? If your fees are set according to what the rest of our client base of 38 communities, we cost you just a little over 1% of what that cost is. If you're going to build a $250,000 home, which is pretty right on these days, we're going to cost you $2,500 to get a minimum code building built in your community all the way through. And also what was talked about, we require submittals, engineered building plans, engineered site plans. The engineered site plan that was submitted had it right on there that it was 4 feet out of compliance. I would have had to been blind not to see it. So we can't just pass go. We send them to the Board of Adjustment, get the variance for that. And also the lot was 35 feet too small, according to your code. You pay us to enforce your code, your zoning code, and your adopted building code. That's what you pay us to do. If I wouldn't have done that and said it's close enough, good enough, they call that the good old boy network, and that goes nowhere with me, nowhere at all. So we send them to the proper channels. We wish them the best. Get the Board of Adjustment approval. With that being said, that's up to them and the board. Their decision stands, has no bearing on council whatsoever. And then we would provide footing, foundation, framing, rough-in inspections, and then the energy code. That is the 2012 energy code mandated by the state of Iowa. If you have local jurisdiction that does building code inspections, you are required to do manual JD&S submittals. And then also the follow through, that company comes back and does blower door testing, looks and sees how many LED lights you have, measures your insulation in your attic. That is a requirement that we do. And we have that compliance certificate that is in hand prior to your certificate of occupancy issued out to the city. Lord, that was a lot of words I just said. You guys go. Of all those words that I said, what questions do you have for me?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Okay, under this rate schedule you got down here, so roughly what would one trip from Des Moines down here to do the inspections being back, what would roughly be that cost?
Well, you're not gonna get me, because it was quoted my hourly rate. Now, if you want me, you can request me, but you're gonna get the sheriff, and it's gonna cost more to have me down. So you're gonna pay the 134 or whatever it is. But to answer your question, but to answer, if it's gonna be an issue where I have to be involved, I'm at $235 an hour to come down to do that, plus mileage rate both ways. So what is an hour and a half each way, plus your $235?
And why would you be involved in coming down?
Just in case there was a problem in Houston and I had to come down like I've had to do before. If I'm requested to be down here for an issue, my inspectors are paid to inspect. But if there's a problem in the field and they need me to come down, or the city needs me to come down, I come down.
So for example, if the building material's wrong, or are you talking about a confrontational issue?
Typically it's a confrontational issue, or somebody's got a problem, or we're having an issue with the layout for, we had an issue where we had some confrontation about a plant in town that wanted to add on that was gonna put them over the limit and gonna require a sprinkler system. There's been some discussions about that. So, yep, I have.
Still didn't get my answer.
Oh, you didn't get the answer.
Well,
That would involve math. So if you wanted somebody to map that out.
Is gonna be $134 an hour, right?
$134 an hour.
Okay,
Yep.
so timeframe, your trip from Des Moines down here, back up,
Yep.
doing the inspection.
And that's at the current IRS mileage rate, like it says.
What is it? 50 cents a mile, what is it?
70 cents.
It's
71.
adjusted every year, so let's say 70.
So we're still $150 or $200 for mileage.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I'm trying to find out, what it would cost for the round trip.
Yep.
Plus the mileage, plus the inspection fee.
Are you mapping over
Are
there?
they on the clock? They're using the
They're on the clock, yep. $528. Good job.
Is that, I mean, but, so what you cited was the, 1%?
Yep.
I mean, so.
So you're a little over 1% when you're doing it. You're probably almost closer to 2. Yep, because of your distance from town. And that's why I led with, you should hire an inspector. I want to be really clear about that. We are your easy button.
Are you seeing, so in some of the communities that you referenced that you're working with, like Oskaloosa, for example, who I know aren't as far as us from Des Moines, but I mean, are you seeing closer to 2% for them as well?
Closer to,
Okay,
yep, and then as you get closer to one, it's closer to 1%.
got it.
Yep.
So 1 to 2%.
Yep, yeah, and that's if you have your rates on your fee schedule set, accordingly. And I don't know if you do or not. So we should be, like he said, we should be at net zero. You should come really close to passing that on to the user.
This is everything, you come down, everything's exactly perfect the way it's supposed to be. So now if you have to, revisit the deal because there's something you wasn't happy with,
Mhm.
so that's another full round trip.
If you call for your footing inspection for your new house and we come down there and you're leaned against your rake and you got the forms up with no number 4 rebar, not tied, not chaired, and there's this much water in the bottom of it, guess what? No.
I can understand that.
So that makes it,
I can understand that.
that's why we're doing the hourly, because otherwise, if we did a per, or we did a fee split, we would have to do that pro bono, it'd be free. Like, oh, you didn't.
But I guess what I'm asking you is that another complete trip from Des
Yes.
Moines back down
Yes.
again?
Yep.
Or is that, say, you came down here, you found a small issue on the thing, take a picture of the thing, show you it had been corrected?
And that's up to the
save trip
inspector.
Down here.
That's up to the inspector. We're always logical, we're fair and equitable on all of our decisions, and I think that a lot of people in this room can vouch for that. If you have a small thing that you need to get taken care of, and you're like, dude, if you can just give me 5 more minutes or whatever, go do whatever you're gonna do across town and come back, we're always gonna do that. We always work with the builders in this town, and we always have.
So a normal walkthrough for an inspection takes how long?
For like a residential home, like we're
For a
talking about,
residential, for example, if you're doing the foundation, framing,
if you're gonna do a footing inspection on a new home like that, 15 minutes,
okay, so the framing similar,
half hour.
okay, and
Yep.
how about for the final?
For the final inspection, about a half hour.
So-
Yeah, maybe a little bit more, but about a half hour.
So from your experience, what would all the permits from start to finish for building a house, by the time you did all the building permits, the heating, cooling
What
permits,
should they cost?
what should they
About
cost?
$2,500, whatever
For all-
average building permit should cost if your fees were set according to what most of our clients have.
Would that cover all of the permits for heating, cooling system,
Yep.
for the manuals that you're referring to?
Yep,
That wouldn't necessarily cover though the survey, the site plan draft,
correct.
the building.
Right, those are all done through a.
That's all separate.
Building outside.
Yeah.
That's another.
So your review of
You're now referring to submittals.
Your
The
submittals,
The
yeah.
submittals. So you're having the biggest expenditure of your life on your new home that's gonna be built.
Mhm.
And that's gonna require an engineered building plan,
Mhm.
not a sketch, not a bar napkin.
Correct.
An engineered site plan that shows that it's meeting, everything for the driveway and how it fits on the lot with the setbacks and alleyway, the opposing streets, you have a street side yard setback and a front yard. All those different things are laid out on that engineered site plan. The state required manual JD and S that's in the submittals, all that comes typically through your HVAC contractor. And yes, those cost extra to do that as well. Yep. So yes, there are some submittal expenditures.
So for you to review the site plan, the building plans, what would you estimate? Is that all
That's all
included in
included.
that
That's all included.
$2,500?
Yep, that's all included. Yep, that's part of the plan review.
Okay.
Yep.
Just to me, the numbers aren't adding up right. I don't know.
That
Something's going on because you're saying, we're looking roughly $500 for a trip down here and back to do inspection. But you're saying.
You're closer to
$25.
2%.
You're saying you're looking roughly around 70 trips.
So you're talking about two different things though. So he's talking about the building permit issuance, not the inspection. They are two.
Okay,
said that was included.
I thought he said that was all
Your
included.
plan review is part of, your plan review for issuing out the building permit is part of what we provide that to that. The first book that we open is your zoning book. Does it fit on the lot? If it doesn't fit on the lot or meet the zoning district, we push it back across the table and then we have some work to get done.
So sorry,
Yeah.
the other piece of that is the construction inspection is a separate piece from the building permit. Correct?
Correct.
So.
So are you
Okay.
saying
yeah,
it's
so
gonna
two
be,
different pots.
are you
Okay,
gonna
see, that's
say
what
the
I'm trying to
mileage
get
and
at.
inspection is about?
Sorry, if I was misunderstanding you, sorry about that.
You're saying the mileage and inspection is gonna be 25 to 35, and then the planning and all the review of all the permits are 2,500. Is that what I'm understanding? So put them together, you're somewhere $5,000 to
$5,000 to $6,000. So, or more, depends.
It all depends on what you're building and if it's all there from the get-go, or if it's a fist fight from the get-go for the, if we have a troublesome builder and troublesome submittals and all these different things, then the cost goes up. If it's a Greenland Homes and it's a track home like that, that's no big deal. We can get those taken care of, but that's
Okay, now we
typically
have
not
a
the case down here.
contractor getting ready for the footings, okay?
Yep,
They're wanting to pour the footings tomorrow morning.
yep, 24
I
hours
called you
notice.
this afternoon. So what's the time delay?
24 hours
You can
notice
get
is what
that
we require.
24 hours.
Yep, and that phone number is 850-2980, and that phone, that goes 4 deep, and I'm the fourth person on it, and you get a live person. 515-850-2980, and nobody answering the phone number.
Okay, well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be like it's gonna be a 2 or 3 day wait period for their contractor to be able to pour the concrete until you get down to do the inspection.
Yeah, we're
You're
24 hours
talking
notice, we'll be
maximum
here.
24 hours.
Yep. We'll be there.
Jason, when you use the term engineered site plan,
Uh-huh,
is that,
that's like Hall Engineering is a person that's local down here.
but say it's residential, do
Yeah.
they need to engage all
Oh,
engineering or can a contractor?
Why? Building code allows for it and we want that. And quite honestly, we want this in this case. It didn't fit on the site plan. It didn't fit it didn't fit on the lot. Yep, this was a great example tonight for that. Your codes work for you. Yep. Now, if you're all thinking what I'm thinking, I'll say it again. Having a local inspector is what you want. Like I said, you don't have to have any inspector at all. But working towards that is probably a goal for the city. Is that a true statement, Jason? Having that local person? And we've helped, cities do that. We've done it 5 times in Oskaloosa. Help them get their certifications. They call and ask questions and consult and all these different things. What we can also provide, so what you have in front of you is what I call our standard contract. That is what puts us at a fair and equitable for our company to do our job for a community. Is it expensive? Yep, it's expensive. It's expensive. You could also do what he doesn't really even know about is a consultation contract. And you can vote on that tonight as well if you wanted to. Or you could fire us too. It doesn't, one of those things is all up for discussion. But a consultation, if you needed us to be involved in something for buildings, we would be there for you through a consultation contract, and I can have that sent down for signature as well. This is your standard contract like we have for all of our other communities that we serve, so.
So what would a consultation contract, what's that?
Just hourly, you just pay us by the hour.
So as far as that contract, what are your duties written into that?
If you call us and need for us to take a look at a plan, or you want to talk about a problem that you're having in the field, or you have a new inspector that you hired and he's like, my goodness, how do I do this? How do I do that? Can you send somebody down here to spend the day with us to get them on their feet, show them the ropes, send them up to us to go to Bondurant and do inspections all day long, like I've had before. And then you get like a crash course in building inspections. We do that as well. So honestly, it's whatever you choose.
I mean, I think there's a couple discussions happening at once though, because I think this, if I'm tracking correctly, the scenario, we heard previously, at our last meeting and then again tonight. What I'm hearing the concern was really enforcement of our existing code. So I think there's a code question and whether the council wants to maintain code as is. And frankly, I am looking forward to that discussion. I'm glad to see that we have someone that's like following it to the letter of the law. They're doing their job. I think that's great. I hear you, it's expensive, but that's what needs to happen because that's where our code is. My understanding is if there's violations of site code, that can come back to the city because we're not properly enforcing. So that's a liability and financial risk for the city. So I'm glad that job is being done. So there's that conversation, which I think is separate than the one we're having tonight, which is who's going to enforce our existing code. The way I see it, we don't have an alternative right now because we don't have a building official and we need someone to enforce code. So I'm not sure what else we can do other than approve the contract as is. And yes, we can discuss alternatives or ending that contract or transitioning to a different model. But I do think that's a like I would not be comfortable or in support of doing that tonight because for liability reasons, like we have to have someone enforcing city code for construction.
So what do we got on the docket right now that you know of, Jason, as far as being them?
For them,
I know the one.
Bill's contract or Bill's project one. I think you just wrapped the YMCA project.
That's commercial. I'm talking about
That's commercial residential. Indian Hills will have a project here in the
Yes.
future, yeah. Work on, out of Bella Vista.
What
Those are the two that we have.
What's the timeline on that? What are you thinking?
We'll see. We could start as early as August. Yeah, we'll just see what happens.
And then, on 8th Street, they're working on a project too for those vacant lots. There's more than just a single family residential, but probably less than the commercial threshold on that project. But,
Oh, the building next to the Majestic up here.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That's commercial.
And,
Yeah,
I'm talking residential.
I'm sorry, yeah.
yeah, so residential on 8th Street, we're working on something and, we're also working with the developer on the possibility of doing an 11 site, construction project. There would be 11 residential.
Wouldn't that be commercial then?
It's I don't know, like serial residential.
It's a commercial building, or not a building, but you're putting it in the same area.
No, they'd be spread across town, so.
Oh, across town. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'd be individual sites, but,
Oh.
that's probably 6 months out.
So Jason, is it fair to say that your company is providing interim services for us?
Yes,
Pending approval moving forward?
yes.
And I guess where I'm coming from is I would like to have our work session on the 4th, table this before moving forward. I mean, that's my perspective.
I would agree with Jason. I think our goal is to have an in-house to provide that service.
Well,
So,
And there's plenty of local people around here that's qualified to do that.
so I,
not qualified, I think he qualified, like the Jason.
That's right. So I mean, there's
because
enough
it
people-
really isn't convenient for anybody to be driving 5 hours to come down and inspect. So
and I don't disagree with that, to be clear. I would just love to, I would say that I don't feel like I have enough information to have an opinion on it. My main concern, which a quote you had said is like the good old boys network. What I'm hearing here, particularly in some of the scenarios that we've heard at our, public forum, folks are concerned that we're enforcing existing code, which means code has perhaps not been enforced in the past in the way that it should have been. So there's two questions. One is, do we need to change city code? I don't know enough about it. I'm not the expert in the room, but I would love to learn more, which I know we're going to talk about. And the second is, how do we make sure that it's actually enforced? Because when we had an internal person before, it sounds like they did a great job in a lot of ways, but perhaps we left some liability holes since we weren't enforcing existing code. So I'm not saying I disagree with you, Brad. I'm just saying.
I don't know that our former person wasn't doing his job. Because he was in all actuality, he was trained to do the job he was hired to do. So I think you're interjecting something that we don't have any information on. As of this point, he was hired to be the official and he was the official, so.
To be clear, I'm not saying that anyone wasn't doing their job. I'm naming that we're hearing from folks that the process has really shifted since bringing B&K on board, and there's concern from the public on that.
So
And that's,
has that process changed? Cause, the previous person had the software and he was doing the reviews of the plans, correct?
I don't think we had any software for any special reviews. We had the books.
He wasn't doing the blueprint layouts and all that on his computer system?
No.
Okay.
If we're gonna call out a problem with your building, we will show you in the code where we have the problem. If we can't show you in writing in your zoning code or the building code, then we're not gonna say anything at all, like grandma always said. Either show me in writing or don't say anything at all.
So Jason, what's been presented to us, the hourly rates, you've got 4 levels of inspectors, right? I mean, basically, building inspector 1 down to permit technician.
Correct.
Are those all based on some level of state certification to qualify for each of those?
It's your position in the department. They're like a
Okay.
permit tech, and then like my field inspector would be the next step up. That's who you'd be
But
getting.
it's kind of in your company
Yes, yep.
level. It's
Yeah.
not based on
No.
any statewide certification that
No.
they have to
No.
achieve or
No.
maintain.
And
correct?
your old inspector, I don't know that he had any certification.
Right, and I don't know
Yeah.
because I wasn't on the council at that
Yeah,
time,
okay.
so this is my 8th meeting.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm
part
kind
of
of
that-
learning as I go.
But part of that expensiveness is to have those certifications and experience behind you. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
The more certified or knowledgeable you are, it's an advantage.
It would surprise you to
Anything.
know that, I mean, I was a public works director for 6 years. I get public works questions 3 times a week from public works directors. So it just happens because that was the work I was in. So.
Well, not ours, but.
Hell no.
That's his number.
That's right.
and just to be clear, I want to emphasize, my comments were not aimed at speaking poorly of any current or prior staff
Right.
member, just to name that having it in-house is an entirely different context than hiring someone or a company that's external. Clearly, the context has shifted because we're getting that feedback from our community that it's a wildly different process. And so again, the question being, why is it so different? We have the same code. So do we need to shift code? And why is it so different when we have an external party? Is there something challenging about having someone within the community playing this role that we should know about? Is there not enough capacity under how that position was written to follow the code to the letter of the law? Like, I don't know. I'm not blaming prior staff at all. I'm just naming, I think it's worth a question. And I didn't feel comfortable representing to the public that the whole council is certain, speaking for myself, I'm not 100% on board without more information about bringing in, someone in-house. Not saying I'm opposed to it either, but just want to.
Well, I think we also need to have it nailed down. Maybe that'll be the discussion, I think, coming up, our checklist.
I think a lot of it has been over the years, and I've had building permits, I've built 3 different places over the years. The thing is, I think they pretty much just had a simplified list to make it simple for you to get to. Show me your lot corners, stake out your building, put it on the lot. I'm the inspector. I come down and look at it. These are your lot corners, this is your size of your building, it fits on the lot. That's basically what they've done. During the term of the construction, I do know the building official has showed up on the job site just to make sure you're putting that building where it's supposed to be. And within that lot parameters, but as far as going in and inspect, I think he did make sure at times did see that they were putting reinforcement rods in the foundations and stuff like that. But as far as going through this great big code and all this stuff, no. They try to make it simple for somebody to build a house, and so far, I don't think there's been any trouble. There's a man sitting right there that did it for several years. He wrote out building permits, he did the same thing. He took over the job, and somebody took over his job, it's just been passed on from one person to the other. I'm not against having some decent building codes, but when you go through this packet, you got a series of real catalog on all these rules and regulations. I don't know why we can't do the workshop like we're saying and come up with a set of rules that we want to enforce that would make it simple for the contractor and not overly expensive to build this house. Whenever you build a house, you have a budget you want to work with. And, it's getting harder and harder. Building materials, everything's getting so darn high anymore. You got the college back here. They've got a certain standard, they have to meet a certain price range they have to follow. So you start tacking more money onto the cost of this project, it's gonna hurt that project that they've done too. And they've done wonders in this town over the years. You can actually drive up and down every street in town, or all these streets around town now. Hey, the college built that house, the college built those two houses. And it's getting more and more all the time. Look what they're building down there on 5th or 13th Street now. You ought to seen the places there before. Absolutely horrid. I own the house behind it. I was worried to death about that thing. It was a mess. Look what they're doing down there now. We don't want to lose that program. And I think under their program and the guidelines that they have to follow and stuff, we gotta be careful what we do. That's gonna attack the costs on that project, because we could lose them. And we don't wanna lose them. But I'm gonna reiterate, I'm gonna say it again, I'm okay with some decent codes to follow. If we have to revise what we've done in the past, then let's do it. Let's put down our own rules and regulations on what we want to follow and how we want to follow them. And let's hire somebody internally here, local here, that can do this instead of having, no offense against him, he lives out in West Des Moines, we're coming from West Des Moines out here. We're gonna pay them 3 hours travel time plus, so if we have to hire somebody and we raise the cost of our building permits to recoup some of the funds, then let's do it. But we can't afford $7,000 inspection fees and stuff for a house.
I mean, is this a part of what we can cover in the work session that we scheduled?
No.
So I mean, it's still, I guess I would still say, I hear you, Ron, and I do look forward to diving in more at the work session and learning more. And I also wonder how we can invite the involvement of the college or of other contractors locally. And then for tonight, I would just name, I still, like, we do need someone that can enforce code in the meantime. I don't see a commitment to a particular, like, date on this contract. This is just formalizing those interim services.
Yes.
So I, like,
So there's a 30-day notice period that we have.
To fire, to terminate, yeah.
so I mean, I would be in support of advancing this until we figure out what the next steps are, which is again, no commitment beyond that 30 days, right?
Well, I'll refer back to, we don't have one house going right now though, right? Possibly two.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to do that by an hour? What's that? I'm sorry.
It's three.
Off the tree? Okay.
Yeah.
Two others.
We would want you to have a contract in place and then work towards firing us. That's what I would do. And the same is being done in Oskaloosa right now. They have a gentleman on staff down there that is getting certifications, getting his experience, and he's working us out of a job, and we couldn't be any more proud and support him. And we would want the same of you.
So can we write this so it's a 30-day contract that renews every 30 days?
Sure.
Okay. Would that satisfy you?
Sounds smart.
Until we can get somebody local, I'm fine. But I don't want to sign a permanent contract.
I don't see anything as written that makes this a permanent. Am I missing something?
No, it's severable after, in 30 days.
You just give 30 days. If you signed it and you wanted us gone in 30 days, we'd be gone in 30 days.
Or if we want you gone sooner.
Well,
Okay.
that's is there not a financial obligation on behalf of the city,
Right.
because it is all pass-through user fees, so.
What bothers me is, like I say, we do have one house going up now and stuff, and just like, I just don't want to see any more cost have to be added to that project than what already has been, because of all the other legal he's ran into, lot surveys and some other issues that's happened with this lot.
One of the things I want to address what you said about making things simpler and easier for the builders out there. We want to make very clear, catch as much stuff on paper way ahead of time. And yes, you have to pay more for that paper, for that engineered building plan, for that engineered site plan. I understand that. But the last thing that a person wants to see is Mr. Black Hat show up out there and say, you're gonna have to actually tear that header out there and put in something different or whatever, redo their work. That's the last thing so we wanna have it on paper correct. And then if the choice is made by that builder to not build it to that building plan, then that's on them. They made that choice.
So are you talking then not just a home, but like a garage or a shed or any of that stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Engineered drawings?
No, for those smaller projects, so that makes it a little bit easier. When you're talking about a project for a garage, you can actually get those plans for free at Menards. You can draw up your rectangle for free on their website or go in there.
So what about your lot parameters? And it's okay,
No,
I go to stake
no.
out my lot corners and
No,
and
that's-
set it up on there then? or
No,
what?
you can do that on your own. We're gonna require that you put those, like you said, put those lot pins out there and do that. But for a new house build, for the biggest expense you're ever gonna have, we wanna have that engineered site plan. And a commercial lot too.
I can understand engineered site plans,
Okay?
but to effect anyway, because
Yeah,
sometimes.
but to answer your question really clearly, for a small project, for an addition onto your bathroom or a shed or a small little building, no, we can go by what you've drawn out there. We want it to be drawn well.
But it's still gonna cost.
If it's wrong, it's on you.
If I'm gonna build a garage, it's still gonna cost me $500 for you to come down from Des Moines to say, okay.
That's right. Yep.
Is there any more public questions or what?
Norman, I'll go, you're a contractor, yes, go ahead.
Question, engineered building plans.
Yeah.
What does that do to Lockridge so they can no longer provide, they have to have an in-house engineer?
No, they have so building code calls it a registered design professional, and they have one. We've gotten plan from them. Yep. That's why you're not calling out the word architect or something like that, and it's registered design professional.
Jesse, I do know, and I have talked to them out there that they do.
Oh, yeah.
Drawings, and they do
Right.
send
Yeah.
everything to
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
certified, so.
Yep.
So, council, we're gonna have a work session on, that's 2 weeks, that's more than 30 days, or that's
14 days.
Yeah, so question is, it's on the agenda to approve or disapprove by council vote. We need somebody to be working now. We can't go without anybody right now, or we're in trouble.
We have to approve or disapprove, or can we table it and continue with them on an interim basis?
Well, are they gonna continue working, are they?
Well,
Cause
This-
we've got inspections, we've got the 4 that we're worried about.
It's a good call on that.
We need you. You say it. You're gonna say what I'm gonna say.
This protects their business interests. I mean, I
Well,
can imagine they would sever the relationship or might want to sever the relationship if we don't have, basically, all this does is enables them, like, we have to give them 30 days notice. That's all it does.
Yep, you can fire us at any time.
And he's even recommended that you do that. I mean, not too many.
no,
people
I
would recommend it.
understand
But in
that,
the meantime, we've gotta keep,
but I know it's, you know it's 30 days, he knows it's 30 days, but it's not on the paperwork.
It's written on there.
Where?
Absolutely, it's on there.
On the second page.
Yeah.
Second page at the top,
Second page at the top.
second line.
Termination.
it's there.
Maybe I'm.
It's on there.
confused.
It's there.
Okay, I'll take your
So
word for it.
that's on there. I'm gonna throw it out. I'm gonna ask for an approval of the building official.
So moved.
I need a motion, a second, and a favor vote. If I don't get it, I don't get it.
So moved.
So I have a motion for Anna to approve the building official services with B and K. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor, I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote.
Chrissy,
Aye.
Brahman,
Aye.
Reagan,
Hey,
Hamilton,
Nay.
Hoffman.
Aye.
3-2, it passes. The agreement will be signed. But again, we've got a lot of work to do, council, and you gotta be coming up with who's gonna replace, if that's what that.
We wanna support that person.
I do have a question, just, while we have folks in the room for the, work session, can we get, I know it's obviously will be posted for, public notice anyway, but are there, specific invites to contractors and things that we can get out so folks are like aware that it's happening and we have the right feedback in the room?
I mean, I think the people here would probably get that word spread enough, but, yeah, consider that, we have the contractors in town.
Okay, and is there a way to structure the agenda for that invites, specific public comment from?
Well, you can have public comment, can't you? Or not?
Work session kind of whatever you want to do, so.
Well, I think we need to have their opinion. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to iron out exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But in order, we have to continue building because we don't obviously want to keep the college stalled. But I think by 2 weeks, we need to have all this ironed out so we can give notice of what we're gonna go do going forward. So if we're gonna fire them or we're gonna hire, we need to have that plan in place within 30 days, so we can proceed forward with that.
Which I think is what we'll have to iron out at the meeting itself, right? So we need to make sure we have strong participation at that point.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna be here.
Great.
But in the meantime, you folks, you got the final say, you gotta be thinking about. plan B.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta be thinking plan B, we can't just keep.
We can't keep doing what we're
You can
doing.
Individually talk to these contractors, get recommendations, that can all be done.
We
So
can't
all gotta
keep
do-
doing what we're doing and we cannot stop the progress of building and we don't want to stop the
Right.
progress by not having somebody here.
So
to
we've got homework to do. folks.
At the same token, we need to decide if we're gonna go full force and be in Des Moines, which I don't think we're ready for what Des Moines is inspecting, because this is Appanus County. We can't proceed forward and have all these extra things enforced for what's happened here. We need to have everything written out, what we want to do to proceed forward. So Bill, it sounds like you guys have been caught up in something and
May I ask a question?
Mhm.
So if we are approved for variance and we are approved to move forward and we get, then let's say the footings are gonna be poured or the foundation, whatever that is, at first inspection. And that's some $500, then I assume that cost will be billed to us.
Through the city though, right?
No, not through the city, it'd be direct to you, right?
We built the city.
Yeah.
We invoice the city.
You invoice the city, and is the city going to invoice us?
Yes, those will be passed through.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
And then probably close
Right.
$100.
The $2,000 that he told you is down the drain. It's over $1,400 for a survey. It's the same amount of money for a site plan, so there's $2,800 already.
You did say that was.
Without any inspection, without any testing, without
Okay.
nothing.
All right, Bill, we got that now, we're moving on, folks, we've got two, closed sessions coming up, so I'm gonna ask the council, to move into the closed session. We're gonna move on to section 21.5.
Thank you.
The Iowa Code allows for a closed session meeting to discuss strategy and counsel regarding matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where the disclosure would likely be prejudiced or disadvantaged position of the governmental body in that litigation. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
second.
Motion and a second. Roll call then, please.
Yes. Robin?
Closed session.
Yes.
Reagan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hamilton? Yes.
I gotta go back.
I'll send you the bathroom break.
Yep.
I was gonna say, take your breaks.
I do too, but I'll wait.
Take a break.
Well, I'll wait in line.
Yeah.
I think we can turn the air on, turn the heat on, off roads.
Recording stopped.
Hey, I might push the way through all this.
You bet, happy to do it.
You turn the air conditioning
Section 670.4, subsections 10 and 11 have immunities for cities for actions and omissions related to, because we're in open session, anybody can listen to this, and no attorney-client privilege applies either. can, for immunities for acts and omissions in granting a permit or conducting an inspection unless the actions are committed with actual malice or involve, criminal acts. So you do have liability in that the people can sue you for those things, which costs money, right? Like even if you win, you gotta pay me to win, which again, it's not bad. My children are very happy about it. But at the same time, you do have a lot of defenses so that if you made an omission or those types of things, the law isn't real clear as to whether or not omissions means just not doing them at all. And that would be an open question, but like, for instance, there's a case out in Davenport where a building fell down and hadn't been inspected in years. And they,
Recording in progress.
because of those two immunities under 670.4. So, but it does have liability and lawyers cost money, God knows. Thanks, God. But anyway, that's the answer to your question.
All right, thank you very much.
You betcha. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We are sitting in open session, but in record mode, so.
Yeah, I can answer the question there. I just waive attorney-client privilege as to 670.4.
Sure, thank you. Appreciate it.
I could probably listen to him all night.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to be here much
No,
longer.
no.
I think we might be going for the record.
This is the latest I've been here for.
Okay, nobody was out there that wants to come back, so we're gonna do this all over again. Ready to move on.
You're warming up at all?
A little bit, I'm gonna stand.
I highly recommend stepping out and leaning up against the brick wall. It's radiating a good amount of heat off.
You think that's warming up the sun?
Just like do this.
It might be cooling off now, though.
Well, you know, there is a heat cycle on that thermostat too, you know.
No, they're not. It's broke. It's broke.
Okay, on the agenda, we have a second closed
We need to
session.
move where he sits. huh?
Section 21.5, subsection 1, paragraph 1 of the Iowa Code. Aye, excuse me. Code allows for a closed session meeting to evaluate professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to that individual's reputation, and that the individual requests a closed session. As an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance is discharged being considered, I hereby request discussion of the matter in closed session on 4/20/26. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
Got a motion from Anna.
I didn't hear what you said. Could you repeat that?
I need a second from Jared. All those in favor, I need a roll call.
Brahman,
Aye.
Cragen.
Aye.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Hoffman.
Aye.
Cruiser.
Aye.
Thank you. We're in closed session. Mike, thank you. He's gonna close the door again. There was nobody out there.